There's a lot of hot off the presses stuff. So let's all take a moment to pray to the demo gods that everyone's demos go super well. It's going to be exciting stuff. And I'm going to give you a quick initial overview at some of the real cool stuff that's been happening in Filecoin land just since the last FDS in Bangkok. Some pretty exciting improvements and also highlighting a couple of the kind of like needs, challenges, and things that we need to keep focusing on as an L1 ecosystem. This is not fully comprehensive. There's a lot of amazing breakthroughs that have happened across Filecoin that I'm not going to get a chance to spotlight, but wanted to give folks a bigger picture overview of some of the exciting stuff that's been happening. Zooming back out to like the overall context of where Filecoin is and some of the main goals we're shooting for. TLDR put out a really good blog post right at the beginning of 2025 talking about some kind of critical proof points that we as an ecosystem need to be delivering against, and we need to orient our tech stack, our go-to-market work to deliver against these proof points to show how Filecoin is crossing the chasm from, hey, here's a capacity network that has assembled a whole chunk of resources to actually driving real paying user demand for those resources and revenue that flows in and fuels the Filecoin economy. So 3 critical proof points that we have been orienting a lot of our building work around are: 1, accelerating the conversion to paid deals, paying users and consumers of Filecoin's storage plus plus offering, growing on-chain activity. So not just off-chain paying users via traditional, point-to-point lawyer-written paper contracts, but actual real on-chain activity within the Filecoin L1 and beyond ecosystem, more on-chain payments, more Web3 native usage of the primitives that we uniquely bring to a decentralized storage market. And then finally, making sure that Filecoin is indispensable to others. This is valuable integrations, paying customers, vertical partnerships, and on-ramps that really drive Filecoin's core value proposition into customized applications and go-to-market strategies that drive real, useful adoption in the world. And so a lot of the work that I'm about to, highlight fits against these 3 areas, and a lot of them overlap because, paid deals and on-chain deals have connections to each other. We also have kind of this summary that I shared in the State of the Union track on Wednesday, whose recording is now up, about some of the challenges, opportunities, and next steps. And a big focus area around these was product market fit, paid storage adoption, and having the usability and golden path for people to onboard onto Filecoin efficiently and effectively. Having kind of a good alignment where the whole storage lifecycle, including L2 ecosystems and on-ramps, were working well together, and then having the developer tools and like economic flows that become a flywheel of increased momentum, adoption, and usage. And so those are some key things that we've actually, of the next steps that we had defined in FDS 5 in Bangkok. A number of these are major things we have worked on and delivered progress against just in the past couple months. So things around having SLA enforcement and incentive mechanisms is exactly what has been driving the roadmap around FWS. Having ongoing user tests with real builders. The client success working group is dog-fooded every single on-ramp and many of the other tools and building blocks to help iterate on UX pain points. We have, and not to steal the thunder, but there is a new MinerX program that's now available for storage providers to start becoming multi-service providers within the Filecoin economy, which is really exciting. So these are a lot of like next steps that we are already taking action on to hit these key focus areas we identified, less than 6 months ago. All right. To spotlight just 3 of the things that I'm really excited about from a core protocol perspective. These are initiatives that are really trying to unlock new L1 capabilities that can target the needs of storage consumers, can bring payments on chain and create this value flow within the Filecoin economy, and also increase interop. How are we going to market with a kind of like multi-service, multi-chain world and ecosystem? The first of those, which is now live on Filecoin mainnet, huge congrats to Zen for making this happen, is proof of data possession, which is a new hot storage proof. It's the first additional service class and tier that we have brought to the Filecoin ecosystem. It's harnessing this new Filecoin Web Services framework to enable people to flexibly pay for new types of service offerings in the Filecoin economy. And PDP learns from a lot of the pain points that folks were seeing around how do I want to purchase hot storage in addition to maybe my cold glacier tier of storage. What sort of access, what sort of billing practices, how do I want to pay for this? Do I want to be denominating my payments in FIL or in stable coins that are a little bit more predictable? And do I want to be locking up my entire 5-year storage deal from the get-go, or do I want to pay more on a month-to-month, week-to-week basis? And so proof of data possession is the first new iteration we've done. And we've also done this in FVM. And so, which means that this is not, brought to light by the most recent new network upgrade that triggered a week and a half ago. This was launched as a smart contract using FVM, which means we can iterate on it like a smart contract. And we already have fixing incremental bugs as we go through. So that's giving us a much faster iteration cycle around this. The other major thing that has come to the market is Filecoin Fast Finality, which is triggering in mainnet next week on Tuesday, which is going to be very exciting. This was kind of enabled by the most recent network upgrade, but is also using a smart contract governed by the multiple different implementation teams to activate the specific parameters that were tested in kind of passive testing over the past couple of weeks. This brings fast cross-chain bridging, interoperability with L2s or other chain ecosystems, huge opportunity for new DeFi primitives to take advantage of this much faster integration, great opportunity for folks that are already using Axelar to bridge transactions across to other ecosystems, or using CCDB, the cross-chain data bridge, to have much faster finality over storage deals that are landing in the Filecoin network. So really, really useful and a huge breakthrough. Huge kudos to the F3 team. It's not an easy thing to bring an entirely new finality gadget to light within a novel longest chain consensus ecosystem. So lots of R&D was involved in making this happen all the way through to mainnet activation. Last but not least, I'm very excited to talk more about Filecoin Web Services, which is this new framework for composable cloud services, aiming to bootstrap not just storage primitives and markets like POREP and PDP, but many different kinds of services targeting the entire, bringing all sorts of interesting compute, AI, retrieval, access control services to large-scale data storage. This also has learned from a lot of the requests we've been hearing from clients and real-world paying users about what they need from, SLA monitoring to stablecoin denominated deal payments to more real-time rolling payment deals in order to enable bringing that more flexible deal structure on chain in a way that the network can govern those SLAs on clients' behalfs. We're really excited to bring a number of new DePIN ecosystems into the fold around FWS, and then help all of these DePIN ecosystems solve the problem that we in Filecoin have been very focused on for the last 2 years, which is driving real-world paying demand for those services, which is something that every new DePIN that comes to market realizes they can start building capacity pretty quickly by shelling out token rewards, but building paying demand is really the hard part, and we want to help the entire DePIN ecosystem do that together. Our vision for the FWS architecture really is around having this composable marketplace of service offerings. This includes like a registry of all of the services that are available. You have smart contracts that are governing the SLAs that, the deal parameters. When am I willing to pay out for the service? What sort of proofs are required? And we have a whole community of service providers that can serve many different services all at the same time. So our vision very much is that Filecoin storage providers, many of whom are already participating in multiple resource or DPIN related markets and ecosystems can very easily become multi-service providers within FWS, bringing more supply into these DPIN ecosystems, and enabling clients to choose a deal type or a service that is made up of many different sub-DPIN services, and can pay for that with kind of one simple wallet or payment rails, just like you'd currently sign up for AWS with a credit card and layer on your S3 and your EC2 and your Lambda and all of your favorite cloud services. And so we're very excited to bring this to market. We'll tell you a little bit more about it in a couple minutes. Another critical building block that has come to market just since last FDS is Filecoin-backed stablecoins. This is a critical component both of enabling those USD-denominated deal payments that we're talking about for all of these FWS services, but also just enabling the whole Filecoin DeFi economy to work within the economic rails of Filecoin in a Filecoin long way, while still having the convenience of I need to pay my contractors in USD, and I want to do that in a way that is fueling the Filecoin economy and keeping my island economy resources in this space. So big cheers to Secured Finance, who has brought USDFC to the Filecoin ecosystem, and very excited to see demos hopefully later today. Pray to those demo gods of this in practice working for our first stablecoin backed deal payments, and then to be able to bring that to other DPIN networks, and also expand that from just storage deals to also many different ways that the Filecoin economy can harness these stable coins, whether it's for grant making or other types of network rewards, or just as a useful unit of conversion between a number of different token economies living on and within Filecoin. So excited to see that come to light. Another exciting thing that happened entirely between last FDS and this FDS what is FIP 100, made a couple of key changes to Filecoin economics, made a number of improvements from the gas cost perspective, enabling storage providers to always batch and aggregate their proofs, which opens up a lot more chain space for onboarding to keep climbing up past 4 petabytes, hopefully to 6, 7, 8 per day in the next couple of months. So opens up more chain space for more network growth, which is a key thing that L1 needs to achieve. Also introduced our first closing of the Filecoin economic loop, adding a daily per sector fee for POREP sectors that are living on the Filecoin network. This is putting in place our first service fee in the model of FWS, where based on usage of these services, there is a value accrual mechanism within the ecosystem that in this context burns fill for that value capture. Last but not least, it made things way less complex for developers, which is a key bonus point of helping us iterate faster and make more improvements that can optimize gas costs and increase more gas bandwidth, maybe even up block limits or things like that, so that we can move faster, iterate faster. And this in particular was it was our first spicy governance FIP, crypto econ FIP, that we successfully passed within a short window of time. So that's a big milestone and step forward for the Filecoin ecosystem as well. We're monitoring it closely and will be for the next number of months to see how it performs in the wild. But based on early simulations done by the Crypto Econ Lab with their Mecha Fill simulator, we're estimating it might reach something like 20 to 60 million fill burned by 2035. So that would be a cool thing to see, and hopefully we actually see that in practice. Also launched since FDS 6, we ran our second round of Fill Retro PGF, which had a number of iterations and changes for how this is rewarding different teams within the ecosystem. And we launched a first community governed perspective PGF MVP, which is now live and accepting new applications for prospective grants, which will be evaluated and governed by a selection committee of stakeholders across the ecosystem with on-chain voting. So if you want to vote via snapshot on which of these you think the network should approve, there's open, community governance and input into that allocation. And again, we're doing this, this is going to be our first iteration of it. We're iterating quickly on both retro and pro PGF mechanisms. And then kind of the next tranche of this will be about in 6 months. And then through all of this work, this is taking, the fueling of development improvements and baking that into the Filecoin network itself as a key function of fueling R&D growth and development that can be run through these decentralized community-owned programs. So excited to see these kind of get baked into how we operate as a network. Last but not least, we also saw major improvements in how storage on-ramps are bringing Filecoin to real paying customers, each kind of focusing on a subset of kind of use cases and customer needs that they can dive deep on that vertical and attract paying users that need a customized storage offering that they are bringing to market. And so it's great to see kind of the growth in paid deals, though unfortunately most of these paid deals are still paid off-chain instead of on-chain, but we're working on that with FWS. And just the feedback loop we're getting on why clients are choosing Filecoin is cost effectiveness, lack of lock-in in Web 2, the ability to scale across regions, and the improved simplification that a number of these on-ramps are bringing for how they can switch from their existing storage services like AWS S3 to start using Filecoin-powered on-ramps. Couple of core protocol improvements that we've done, in the since the beginning of 2025. A lot of work around increasing the usability of core storage and retrieval flows, PDP, work being done around verifiable retrieval, and Spark-related improvements. Also, future work that we would like to see done within FWS is the concept of having smart contract matchmakers or pools of service providers that automatically are selected from to avoid having clients have to go and find the perfect SP for them. I just want to work with a pool. Let me send my deal request there. A lot of work to be done around actually bringing on-chain market and payments to be used by paying services. That's exactly what FWS market and stablecoin payments are focused on. A lot of work's in progress around attracting more services to kind of a shared market that can help collectively solve a number of problems we're seeing. And we'd really love to talk to you if you are involved in existing DePIN ecosystems so that we can see how we can compose the services you're already selling, bring those to clients that we're selling to in the Filecoin ecosystem, and combine your services with storage, compute retrieval, and other similar DePIN services. But there was some key work done in the past couple of months around Filecoin value accrual and making sure that we're scaling this. FIP 100, adding fees to FWS as well. So we have market fees for the volume that's passing through these on-chain markets, and making sure we have, critically, the chain scalability to support all of these services and, faster and scale adoption. And last but not least, our last talk today will be around incentivizing and looking through models to reward the entities that bring demand to the Filecoin market and ecosystem, and making sure that we continue closing the value capture loop with all of the paying demand and clients that we're able to onboard as an ecosystem. Quick view from a roadmap perspective, we did a whole ton of things in Q1 around increasing transactions and interoperability, driving Filecoin market usage and utility, connecting and accelerating FIL value accrual, and then keeping Filecoin stable, secure, and improving. And we have a lot of things already in progress for Q2, and a number of things we've already scheduled on the Q3, Q4 timeframe. If you've got exciting stuff that you're working on in these areas, we'd love to add it to our this little roadmap view, and we'll be sharing that more broadly. A lot of this is around on-chain payments, more service types for FWS, better cross-chain bridging, and making sure that that value incentive loop connects. And then going back to the three main areas we talked about at the very beginning: accelerating paid deals, growing on-chain activity, and making Filecoin indispensable. This is kind of how the things we highlighted here around PDP, real-time payments, on-ramp incentives connect to each of these critical proof points and are getting us closer to being able to demonstrate success against those proof points within 2025. We're just over 1 quarter in, and we've already made a whole ton of progress, which is awesome to see. And now kind of our challenge, I would say, for the next quarter or so is to start driving adoption of these new MVP building blocks that we have brought to the ecosystem, so that we can actually have the on-chain graphs and metrics that start showing conversion against these proof points.